So we are live now. So Sanjeev, can you post the link? Give me a second. I have 0 viewers right now. Let's wait. Let's give it a few minutes.
Did you post the deck? Let me just.
No, I've uploaded to Restream.
Okay.
I have the full slide here. So you have 4 viewers now. Let's give it another 3 minutes.
Sure.
Seven viewers. So we have 10 viewers now, so we'll give it another minute or two, and then we can start.
Yep.
So let's post. I posted the registration link. Please register as soon as you can. Okay, let's start. So we have 14 viewers now. So let's start. Hello, everyone. So thanks for joining us. So today we're going to deploy 3 workloads into Kubernetes. There'll be stateful and stateless workloads. So we're going to start with the vault that we are going to store the secrets in that, and then we are going to go into Springboot and before that we'll deploy MySQL. So Sanjeev, you want to add something before we go to
Sure, yeah. So what we would like to show you today is that you will be deploying sample applications and call it a Spring Boot application, Java applications connecting to a MySQL database on Kubernetes, and this Kubernetes cluster is running on AWS, and we will demonstrate that staying on your browser, on your GitHub repo, you are able to deploy a complete applications without worrying about the underlying complexity of the cloud and Kubernetes.
All right, so let's start. So moving on to a brief introduction to AppZ. So Sanjeev, you want to take this?
Sure. So AppZ is we call it like the Lotus Cloud Platform, and what we mean is that the cloud itself is vast infrastructure. It's a highly automated, but using it, like to use the cloud, you have to know the cloud. Maybe you have to go for some certification. Maybe you have to understand the UI interface, the API interface, and that's a big challenge. And across the cloud, also between different clouds, there are variations. What AppZ does is mask all the complexity of the cloud and gives you a very usable interface that you will see to start working on the cloud with the Docker Kubernetes platform. And we call it kind of the hassle-free managed Kubernetes. And we are also going live on AWS Marketplace, and we are signing up for beta program. The cost is here. The 60 days trial is free. So join us, and we will be giving more details as we go along.
All right. So at this point, we are in beta. That means we could whitelist specific customers who want to sign up on beta. We can get them onboarded, right?
That's correct. That's correct. So whether you have a personal AWS account or like for a company you want to try this out, let us know, and we can whitelist your AWS account to have access to our AppZ marketplace platform. And we will be GA in another, so like a month time frame, definitely by mid-February. But before that, if you want to try it out, let us know your AWS account, contact us, and we can whitelist you to have access.
Awesome. So moving on. So yeah, go ahead, Sanjeev.
So as I said, that we are deploying 3 workloads. So I believe like maybe 20 plus of you will be participating, and each one of you will be deploying 3 containerized workload on the platform, which is Kubernetes platform, which is running on the AWS cloud. The first component we call the Hashicorp Vault, and we have a sample repo which you will be using to deploy these applications, and you will be able to see these applications up and running on the platform from the dashboard, and you will be interacting with our platform using a UI. We call it like the AppZ Dashboard, and you will see that the vault getting deployed there, how it is getting built, deployed, all the details. After that, you will be deploying a MySQL database, again containerized, on the same cluster, on the same, in the Kubernetes, they call it kind of the namespace. So if the 20 of you are deploying a separate, your own vault, your own MySQL database, and your own Java Springboot application, and you will be seeing only the components which are deployed for you. So 20 of you deploying it, but everything segregated, and that's the kind of the magic of Kubernetes. We are kind of like we are just simplifying. AppZ is just simplifying the whole process, that how you can easily accomplish all these tasks.
All right. Moving on to the next slide.
This is a very high level architecture, and we are talking about 2 things here: AppZ platform and AppZ stacks. As you can see that, and this is what your experience would be today. You are sitting as in the place of the developers here, and you are interacting with your Git repository. The rest of the things is happening by the kind of like call it like the magic that our AppZ platform is giving you the entire service, and you are observing all what is happening and how those things are applications are getting deployed. how you interact with the UI, everything at the bottom, what is the AppZ Dashboard Observability Platform. So all you will be doing is cloning a sample repository. We have public repository from eCloud Control GitHub repo, 3 repositories, and as you make some changes and setting up a webhook which will pick up the changes, hand it over to the AppZ platform. AppZ platform will take your change, merge with what we call the AppZ stacks. So stacks are kind of like, you can call it like the base image for each of the component that you will be deploying, Vault, uh, MySQL database, as well as the Springboot. You'll see the power of the stack at the time of deploying the Springboot. It just takes your code. The code will be visible to you. You can take a look and put it on top of the Springboot Java stack, AppZ stack, and then deploy it on the Kubernetes cluster. So you'll see this whole magic unfolding before you, and you may have a good knowledge about Docker Kubernetes. You may not have good knowledge about Docker Kubernetes, but you will see that your applications, Java applications, getting deployed on the cluster seamlessly without having to worry about and without even writing a command.
And Sanjeev, today when we are deploying into the AWS. So can you talk a little bit about the cluster that we're going to deploy to?
That's correct. That's correct. So this cluster, and as I said earlier, that this cluster is available to build under your AWS account from AWS Marketplace. We will be public in another month time frame, and it is like a couple of clicks, and this cluster will get built on 3 nodes, which is a minimum requirement for a Kubernetes cluster. Minimum, I would say, like a stability requirement for, and 1 master node and 2 worker node. And those EC2 instances. We are running this workshop on AWS Marketplace, but as you can see that as the platform itself is cloud agnostic, we don't care which cloud you are using, Azure, Oracle, DigitalOcean, Linode, or even the private data center. We don't care. AppZ platform can go on top of any 3 VMs or even the bare metal, and you will have the similar exact same like look and feel and operation process whether you are on AWS or other cloud.
Awesome. So before we move to the next slide, I just want to touch on how we are going to do this. So we have a registration link on LinkedIn. So please do use that and register yourself. As part of the registration, we also have the link there in the form. So the registration link is nothing but a Google form. And in that Google form, please enter all the information. I'm going to do that with you, and I'll share my screen and show what I'm doing so you can repeat that. And when you are filling the form, also there is a link for the Slack sign up. So all our instructions and the interactions will go in Slack. So there is a link in the form to join the Slack. So before you submit, please do enter all the fields and click on the link to sign up on our Slack channel. So our team is already in Slack, so they can help you with the steps. And as we are going through this, you'll be able to seek any help, any questions through Slack. So I'm going to start sharing my screen as well.
And make sure to join the Slack channel. That's the way for us to help you in case you are stuck with any step.
All right. So here is a form. So I'm filling. So you enter the organization. while I'm filling this, so Sanjeev, can you kind of explain what is happening behind the scenes when I submit this?
Yes. Yep. And this Git ID is very important. You have to have a Git ID to kind of like participate in the work. In case you do not have Git ID, I would say like just watch it, and later on also you can contact us and do that. So Git ID, based on the Git ID, we are setting up that we will entitle you to deploy the applications on our platform. User ID, if you keep the same as the Git ID, that would be kind of the preferred. And based on the user ID, you will be like, we will entitle you. We will also send you a link. We call it like activation link. You will be getting in the mail to sign up for our dashboard. So Rajat has given his personal like Gmail address, and he will be getting a mail. And this is like the Slack joining. So he is joining the Slack channel also. Slack channel is a public Slack channel that we have established for this workshop, and you sign up there and say hello to everyone, and start getting the help, and also see that what other experience you see the experience of other users, like how they are participating in this workshop.
That's right. So in the form at the bottom, I clicked on this link, and Slack asked me for my email address, and I got this email. So using that, you can click and join the Slack channel. So please do join the Slack channel and submit the form. So, and then check the box. Once you sign up, check the box and hit submit. So as Sanjeev was saying, this information will come to us, and then we will give you the permission to deploy to the cluster that we have already built and running.
Yeah, and since you have given us your email address, be on a lookout for a mail from us. Mail will be coming from AppZ Workshop, and that mail will tell you that there's an activation link. Once you click the link, then you would be able to sign up for our AppZ platform. You can show that link page.
The registration link, right?
The registration page, yeah, how that will look like. So next page. Yeah, say hello on Slack channel. I hope many of you have joined our Slack channel, and we have put the link also in case you didn't submit it. It's available here. You can. It's a small like bit.ly URL. You can take a note of it.
Yeah, I can see that we have 20 participants and we have 20 members in the channel.
Okay, that's great.
That's good. So looks like everyone is in. So if you have joined Slack, say hello. And at this point, the next step is activating the AppZ account. So when we get the form, the information that you submitted through the form, our team will activate your AppZ account, and you will get the activation notification. So it will be mail coming from AppZ Workshop. The subject will be account activation notification.
And sometimes like these may land into different buckets, maybe sometimes the spam also folder also. So be on the lookout and check for the mail coming from AppZ Workshop and click on the link to activate.
So I'm waiting for my activation link. So once I get it, I'll share that screen.
And here also, like you can say that you will give the same email address here, user, the value of the user which you set up on the form, and you will set up your password.
So here is the link, the activation email I got. So let's give it a few minutes for everyone to get it.
Yeah, and as for the best security practice, the password has to be certain. I think 8 characters, a special character, uppercase, lowercase, like certain rules are there, and those are visible on the sign up link. So I believe like with these two activation steps on the Slack channel, and once you get on to activate your account, you will be all set and start deploying applications. They will be soon there.
Okay, so I'm going to register. I'm going to click on the activation link now. So I have to re-enter the. So my account is already there, so I'm not going to activate. So please enter your email, the user ID that you selected, and the password, and to click on the activate button.
And if you have any difficulty, present your question on the AppZ Workshop Slack channel. Our team is also there and they will help you.
I'm sharing on my screen the activation link you're going to get. And what I'll do is I'll put this here in the background.
Rajat, are you going to share your screen?
Yes. Oh, give me a second. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was shared.
It's a deck.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So this.
Yeah.
So the screen on the top, that is the activation link I got, and the background is the sign up screen or activation screen of AppZ. So let's give it another few more minutes for everyone to sign up. So for those of you who signed up, once you are done with the activation, you will see this screen with the node data because you haven't deployed anything yet. So this is the screen where you would see, once you start deploying, you will see the actual deployment data here. So right now it'll be empty.
And this is a snippet from our dashboard.
So the way we have designed the system is, so we created, we call our platform a low-touch platform, and we basically give you a low-touch, hassle-free Kubernetes. So everything that runs that you're going to deploy today are going to run in Kubernetes, but you don't have to get into Kubernetes, or you don't have to use the kubectl command. You of course you can learn about Kubernetes. It's an awesome platform, but it's very complex. So what we have done is we created a simple GitOps platform that will take your source and deploy straight into Kubernetes in a very secure way. And at the once everything is done, it's basically a low-touch platform for you, so you can manage it with purely GitOps.
I hope everyone is getting there.
Yeah. Waiting for our team to confirm.
At some point in the future, we would love to have an in-person workshop. So we look towards those days that we can invite you, and all of us are here living in a different world now, and this is the
That's right.
best way to hand.
Once you are in, you should see the screen. I'm sharing my screen now. So this is the screen that you're going to see once you're logged in.
Great, I see the team confirming that they have activated their dashboard.
Yep. Okay, waiting for a few more confirmation.
Yeah, maybe another minute or so, then we'll move on to the real workload deployment.
Few more to activate, so we'll give it another 4 minutes, and then we can proceed.
And there's a question from Donald Lika that where can I get the AppZ user ID? AppZ user ID is something that you select, and you can keep your Git ID same as the AppZ user ID.
Yeah, it looks like Donald done confirmed that he is done.
Oh, that's great.
In Slack. All right, let's move on. So let's move on to the next step.
Let's just do that, Rajat.
All right. So go ahead, Sanjeev.
Yeah, the next step we are doing is we have a public repo GitHub eCloud control, and we are deploying the 3 workloads from there. The Vault is the first workload. The Vault is a secret manager, one of the most popular open source secret manager, and it's very robust and enterprise grade also. That is what we will be deploying on the Kubernetes platform. So you will be doing a fork from this repo to your personal Git repository. So you're kind of like the bringing the code from this repo eCloud control vault to your personal repo, and the fork button is on the right hand top. You will do that. So let's all go ahead and deploy fork the repo first, and then we will be setting up the webhook. Rajat will be showing you live in case you are not familiar with that, where to set up the webhook. And webhook URL is posted here. I think I should post the webhook URL on the workshop AppZ workshop Slack channel also. And then you will be you'll set up the webhook. Then you'll be making a file, change in the file. That file is AppZ YAML. So Rajat, why don't you walk through live, like what changes you will be making, and others will be doing the same thing.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen now. So here is the repo that we shared, so which is eCloud control /vault. So let me post this link in Slack. Okay, it's we already shared it. So I'm going to hit fork and bring that project into my own account. So it's forking now.
And I hope everyone saw the forking. On the right hand corner, there's a fork. Just click that and bring it to your personal account. So as you can see, the code moved from eCloud control vault, a copy of the code, and moved to Rajat's personal account.
Okay, so now here is the copy. So here's a forked vault. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to settings, go to webhooks, and add a webhook. So Abhi, could you please post the webhook URL in Slack?
And this is an important step. The webhook is the way to kind of like the communicate. GitHub will start communicating with our AppZ platform. AppZ platform is accepting the webhook. This URL is also public, and we have another way to make it secure. But for this purpose, we are accepting the webhook from the URL, and that's the reason we ask your Git ID, because based on your Git ID, we have authenticated your Git ID to deploy on our platform.
So once you enter the URL, the URL is in Slack now. So make sure that the content type is selected as application as JSON, and then you just hit add webhook.
And this is how the screen will look like once the webhook is added. In case you didn't select the content type JSON, you can go back and change the edit mode, bring in the edit mode and change it. So I hope like everyone is able to fork and add the webhook. And after the next 2 steps are to make a change in the, I would say like a Git repo that you just fork, your personal Git repo, and do a commit. And this commit will trigger a deployment and trigger a like the whole entire, like I would call it a CI/CD pipeline to build the applications and deploy it on the Kubernetes cluster managed by AppZ. Let me check if there any question on these steps, anybody? Okay, I see people are, and if you can keep confirming, we just want to make sure that at least a good amount of people are not facing issue. If you have any issue, of course, you raise it here, but also confirm that you are done with the steps as we are moving along.
So we'll give it another minute or two for everyone to complete the webhook.
Yep. And just so you know that the webhook is just if you make a change in the repo, it will get pushed to our platform. You will be making if you make 2 times, it will get pushed 2 times. Like that's how the Git works. And this is what we also call the kind of like the true GitOps model. We follow at AppZ a true GitOps model. It's a development environment, so it will be immediately deployed. If it is a UAT and production environment, the Git also provides a PR, what's called the peer review process or approval process. And we also have a separate approval process built in. So you have multiple options if you want to bring control in your deployment process.
Okay, looks like most of them are done with the webhook setup. Yep. So anyone who hasn't activated yet, please ping. If you have any questions or concerns, if you're stuck with something, please use the Slack channel. Okay, let's move on to the next step, which is editing the AppZ YAML. So I'm going to share my screen again. So we are going to go to the code of Regit/Vault. So in your case, your personal Vault repo that you created, and we're going to edit a file and make 2 changes. So I'm going to show you that now. So I'm going to go to my screen, go to Vault. So make sure that you're back in your source code page and click on the AppZ YAML. So this is the manifest that kind of simplifies your deployment process. So I'm going to edit it. So there are 2 fields that I'm going to edit. First, I'm going to change the default email ID, change it to my personal. Then I'm going to change the context here to match my Git ID. That's a validation that we do to keep everyone isolated. So what this means is each one of you, when you deploy, we are creating a separate namespace on the fly for each one and deploying your workloads within that namespace. So Sanjeev, this is it, right? Anything you want to add here?
No, that's correct. And this is something AppZ YAML. So from our platform perspective, as you can see, and this will be more visible when you do the MySQL or even the Springboot deployment, where you will see an entire repository getting integrated with the AppZ platform through this single declarative file. We call it like AppZ YAML. So this AppZ YAML is describing the kind of like the life cycle of the CI/CD process for the Git repo. In this case, it's a simple Vault image, container image. As you can see, the image template, Vault 1.2. That's the version of the Vault we are using. And this image is containerized image is getting deployed for under your namespace as a secret store. That is where you will be keeping all your secrets. That those are getting generated, or you will have ability to change the secrets also, and that will be something that will show you later.
Okay, so make sure that you make these 2 changes. The notify app, notify under app should be your email ID, and the context should be your Git ID/dev.
Yeah, one more thing to add here. As you can see that this Vault deployment, since it is a secret store, it's a stateful deployment. And we have the 2 volumes where we are like keeping the data intact. Each volume has like the 5 GB each.
So I'm going to commit now. So this will trigger the deployment. So I should be able to go to webhooks and see if the webhook actually went through. You can see that it was successfully sent. So now you should see this. So this is the dashboard. So you can confirm the deployment. So you can see that I just clicked and I got 940. It got built and deployed. So Sanjeev, you want to take?
Sure. So each one of you will be seeing this line item, and this line item means that from your repository where you have set up the webhook, this application is getting built, deployed, and there's a last section monitor also where you can watch the application's logs. The build here, and Rajit, why don't you click on the build? Like what sort of details we are capturing, we can show them.
Yeah. So if you just click on the success under the build column, so it will open up and show you the build log. So what we're doing behind the scenes is, we are building a pipeline on the fly based on the manifest file that you edited. So this is basically all the log that's coming out of the build pipeline. So you can see that this it's creating a Docker image and then pushing it and saving it in a repository. That's part of the build. Now if I close this, and here again, you can there are links inside this you can use. For example, this is a commit that actually triggered the build. So if I click here, it will open up the actual change to the actual commit, and it will show you the difference. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close the build log. And if you click on the success under the deploy, you can actually see the actual kubectl commands that we use to deploy. So all the manifests are created on the fly. So we deploy all the secrets for you, and we also deploy the stateful set. In this case, it's a stateful set. That's getting deployed, and then after that, the service gets deployed. So you can see all the details here. For example, I'm looking for the line that says deployment YAML complete. So here is the line that says deployment YAML preparation done. So if I click on the D here, you can see the actual manifest that we used to deploy the vault. So the YAML file that we created and saved in the repo, which is appz.yaml, that got translated into this and with all the necessary tagging for audit and logging purposes. And then we deployed that into the cluster. Now, this is here you will soon see the metrics. So what I did is I clicked on the green under the monitor. There you can see it has been up now. So we collect a lot of information. We are going to soon see the data. We can also see the actual logs. So this is the actual application log, or the log that the Vault pod has written. It's also captured, and you can see it here. So you can see there are a few lines, 120 lines came in around. So look at this, okay, 940. So when I click here, you can actually see the log entries. All right, let's wait for everyone to deploy Vault. Please, anyone facing any problems, please ping us on the Slack channel and we can help you. So as part of the pipeline, one of the things that we are doing is to ensure that the images gets deployed fast and built fast. So we are leveraging the Docker cache, and we are leveraging a Docker image repositories. All that is part of the cluster. As you build the cluster, so if you were to use our Amazon Marketplace, you can create the cluster. We have other webinars. Please do look at them. You can create a cluster within 30 minutes, and you can start deploying applications right after 30 minutes, and it will be up and running within 30 to 40 minutes. You will have the cluster and the application up and running. So today we are using a pre-built cluster, but please do sign up if you or let us know if you want to try this out of the AWS Marketplace.
Yeah, one more thing to mention that in today's workshop, we are deploying 3 workload, Vault, MySQL, and Springboot application. But we have, I would say, like close to 60 to 70 mature stacks catering to like other programming languages and other types of open source tools and databases. And again, if you are interested in knowing that if you have a particular programming language which you are interested in and a particular open source tool or even the vendor tool, if you want to deploy, containerize, we have already either ready or we have capability to build new stacks within a week time frame. So that's another value add that we bring. So AppZ platform masks the complexity of, I would say, like cloud and Kubernetes. And the AppZ stacks mask the complexity of your development process and kind of like the Dockerization of your containerization of your application, and kind of like you get a pre-built Lego blocks on top of which you like layer your applications and get it deployed. Let me see if there's any question. That's good, Amar. Yep.
Looks like Vault deployment has been done. That's good. So please confirm, everyone. So once we are done, as Sanjeev said, we are going to move on to MySQL deployment.
The MySQL will also be more or less like similar step. I think MySQL, we are not only deploying the database, we are also creating the users, we are also importing. So we'll explain you that what exactly we are doing, how we are presetting the database. And there also you'll see the power of AppZ stacks in terms of managing the complexity of the individual workload. And you will see the kind of like increasing complexity. Vault is a plain image with few parameters. We got deployed. MySQL, we are creating the users, we are creating the ACL, we are creating the database, and Springboot, we are building the whole application. So you will see the kind of like the progressive way, the power of the stacks, and how easy it make your life, and how simple it make to focus on your application development without worrying about the complexity of the cloud, Kubernetes, and the Docker.
So we'll give it another minute and we'll move on to MySQL. So you can see in Slack confirmations coming in. All right, so Sanjeev, let's move on to MySQL. Go ahead, Sanjeev.
Yep, and almost like similar step, the way you deployed Vault, you will look for eCloud Control MySQL and fork it under your personal Git repository. You set up the webhook, exact same URL, and you will use the content type as application JSON, and you will again change these two values. So almost like the identical process which you have already gone through. Let's do that and get the MySQL the deployed.
Right, I'll share the screen in a minute.
while we are doing that, we have the Postgres, we have the MongoDB, we have Elastic, we have like you name the RDBMS. If we can even run the Oracle containerized on our platform, and maybe one of the future workshops. And in the future workshop, we will have one stateful like RDBMS, and maybe potentially a stateless applications connecting. Next one, which we are targeting, is the Mariadb and the WordPress. And I hope you will be joining us on our like weekly workshop.
So I'm in the eCloud Control MySQL repo. So let me post the link. So I'm going to add the webhook again. So
So this is eCloud control. You have to fork it.
Fork, yeah. First I'll fork it. So I'm forking now. Okay, fork is done. So next step is to add the webhook. You grab the webhook URL from Slack. I'm posting it again on Slack. So add webhook, paste the URL, change the content type to application JSON, and add. Then I'm going to go to the source, edit AppZ YAML. So I made two changes. I changed the notification email to my personal email, and then I changed the context to Rajat/dev. So make sure that this context name matches your Git ID. And talk about this section, Sanjeev.
Yes. As you can see that this is a more complex workload, and as the MySQL database is getting created, it has to have a like root access, and we are also deploying like the two databases and two users as well. And now the vault that you deployed, we have an additional like functionality built in vault. It will auto generate the secrets. In maybe in the enterprise case, the secret may be coming from your like enterprise store, but in this case, we are giving an ability that the secrets are getting generated on the fly and stored on the vault and used by the MySQL application. So this is an added feature that we have built in Vault to help ease the overall the secret management process.
And the volumes, so here
Yep.
we have two volumes. The primary data is going to go to this a volume mounted on Warlib MySQL. So that the PV, the persistence volumes will be automatically created. You can specify the size you want. And also there is, in our MySQL image, we automatically have snapshots enabled. Those snapshots will go into this backup mount. Now I'm going to commit. So I've committed it. So behind the scenes, it's going to build. So meanwhile, let's look at the other file. Sanjeev, if you can take us through the setup.yaml.
Yeah.
So here is setup.yaml.
Yeah. So this is another add-on feature. So we our like I would say our AppGS stacks, we are kind of like lots of value add. So it's not just like open source MySQL, which you will like install it and then start now creating the database, getting the user. We give a very easy and the simple declarative way for you to accomplish the task using GitOps. So we have a like setup.yaml, and you will see the setup.yaml concept in our other like stacks which are of similar nature, like the database. And you can see that we are creating the two database users here, Springboot web and WordPress. And at the same time, we are setting up the password is getting picked up from the vault as they are getting created. We are also creating two databases here, Springboot web and the WordPress. And we are setting up the ACL, that which user will have access to which database. And in this case, we are giving all access. You can have the select update, like the typical CRUD that you have for the RDBMS. Now, additional feature that we are offering here is the restore option. And what it means is that many times you already have an import of that database sitting on a maybe S3 bucket. In this case, it is sitting on our WordPress site. So we are taking that backup and restoring, like reestablishing the table and the data within the Springboot web database. So as you can see, like a lot of tasks which is done in the enterprise, or maybe like you do manually, kind of like the DBA task, we have given a very declarative way to handle these tasks. And this helps you kind of like move faster, and it also achieves our goal is that the developers will remain developers in the operation team. Like a lot of these tasks are like operation related. They remain like focused on the doing a true GitOps, and not worry about like log into the backend database cluster to do these type of things.
Awesome. And I want to talk about the token that we have here.
Yeah, that's correct. So this token is, and as I said earlier, that you may be deploying this. You can you can redeploy it. You can add another user here. But what we want is that if you do that, then your the database does not get wiped out by this import value. So we have developed a concept called like the token. This token is valid for like current time plus the 15 minutes only in the UTC, Universal Time Zone, and that's the token we are providing. So unless you set this token, and in this case we have preset this for you, unless you set this correctly, and these are like the fail-safe mechanism. By mistake, I have a running application and I with a database and I restore it to a previous version or the previous snapshot of the database. So we have built these facilities just to make sure that you have the full control at the same time, like very easy way to operate the RDBMS environment.
Right. So if you once you deployed, if you were to go to the dashboard, you will see this record. So you can see MySQL 7. I just deployed at 9:56 Eastern Standard Time. It got deployed, and again, I can pull the build log as well as the deployment log here, and also I can look pull the metrics here. And here, if you go into the logs, you can actually see the actual logs written by SQL as it comes up. And I think the MySQL log is here. So this is the, so it looks like MySQL is up. This is coming from the pod or the container.
Yeah, this is another value add we have. You're not logging to the machine and running the like a long kubectl command to log into the pod and look into the logs. All the logs are visible for you, and this is, and you'll see the power of this our AppZ stacks in terms of the logging and monitoring for a Springboot, because that's the application that you will be writing, and you have ability to point the logs to come to the screen, and a single place you are able to browse the log, you are able to download the log, you are able to like we can also set up the alerting against those logs, all those stuff like there. First, in case you are wondering here that what happened to the wall, so Rajat has put MySQL on the top, and so we only the MySQL is visible. I just wanted to clarify that if you're wondering that what happened to the vault here.
Yeah, I have other deployments here running, so that's why I put the filter. So you can also do the filter if you want. So
okay, and as you can see, the exact same process, the MySQL is getting built, and the build here means is that you may be making changes in your setup.yaml. You may be creating additional databases. You may be creating additional like users, or you may be changing some of the properties. All those things are getting like picked up, and again the Docker image is getting created, pushed to the registry, and then handed over to the engine, AppZ engine, for the deployment. And this is the dev environment. As you can see that between build and deployment, it is a seamless transition. If it is a UAT environment or production environment, we require an approval to happen between dev and UAT. That approval could be in the Git. That approval could be in our workflow manager to move further.
So we're going to wait for everyone to complete MySQL deployment. So during that time, let's kind of summarize what we have done so far. And Sanjeev, can you kind of walk us through what happened during the two deployments that we did? So far, we deployed Vault and MySQL. So
sure. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So as you can see that you put yourself either in the developer and operation position here. Maybe in enterprise, what might happen is that the MySQL may be getting deployed by your operation team. They are managing the stack and all, and you would be primarily focused on the Java development. Or like as a developer, you have full control to deploy the Vault. That's the role that kind of like you are playing here, and all you are interacting with your GitHub repository. In this case, we gave you the sample repository. In your enterprise, once you are interacting with the AppZ platform, you will be deploying like real applications. Definitely, like AppZ stacks will make your life much more easier, because they give you kind of like the pre-built images, pre-built like the secure and lots of value add features embedded in those images, so you can use them right off the box, like as you saw for the Vault and the MySQL, like doing all the changes in the declarative way in the AppZ YAML or setup.yaml, or like a Springboot where your application will truly get built. You will see that it's the Maven build happening and then get deployed on the Kubernetes cluster. Again, walk you through the same process. All you did was a fork the repo, and in the personal repo, you made a commit. That commit gets picked up by AppZ platform and merged with the AppZ stacks. You saw the image template in the AppZ YAML that is pointing to the kind of like the right stack, and your code, and in this case, your code is nothing but few declarative files as it exists in AppZ YAML and maybe setup.yaml. Those files are getting merged, create a Docker image like getting created, pushed to the registry. We have our own registry as part of our platform. If you are using an enterprise and you have Nexus or like some other registry, Artifactory, we have a very easy ability to integrate with all those. And then like the deployment is getting pushed to the Kubernetes cluster. This Kubernetes cluster is managed by AppZ, and it is running on the AWS cloud. It could be running on any cloud, like that's not a problem. And then what you are seeing on the dashboard, where you're seeing all the build, deployment, and the logging, That's our observability platform. We call it like the single pane of glass, the control plane. That is where you are coming. So between your Git repository and the AppZ dashboard, you have full control of the CI/CD process, and you remain focused on your true application development without worrying about the underlying infrastructure and the complexity of it.
That's right. So just to talk about the observability, I know I give you a quick peek at the log viewer. So in order to reach the log viewer, what you need to do is, so when you're looking at the deployment record, click on the green. That will tell you, it will take you through the metric screen, and from there you can click on the view logs to come to this. So once you're here, it gives you a heat map of the log entries coming from the MySQL container running in Kubernetes. And we capture all the logs. Unlike other logging tools, we separate them by different files. So you can see all the different files from which we are getting logs. Now, if I click on this dot, so this is all the logs across all the files. And if you have multiple pods running or multiple instances running, you will see all the logs in one place. So you can drill. In this case, we are only deploying one, so you can choose the specific instance, or you can within the instance. These are all the different files. So I can actually go into the MySQL log and actually see what how MySQL started. So here you can see that it pulled the Springboot password from the vault, and you can also see that it is it completed the initialization process, and it's up and running now. You want to add anything there?
Yes, one thing I would like to add is that you would be wondering that how these things are available right out of the box. And the answer is that we are running close to 15 to 20 open source components. So this entire log viewer is possible because we are running a Elastic on our cluster. We are running a MongoDB and the Graylog, and that together, like these three components with our dashboard, make it available to give this feature which we are demonstrating to you. So we have built these open source tools, like we have pre-built them and kind of like the supporting it so that it makes your life easy. You don't have to build these kind of interfaces. Having said that, if as an enterprise you have maybe Kibana or you have own log lake, we are perfectly fine to integrate. So you may be able to see here, as well as we will push the log to your log lake so that it is visible from there as well.
That's right. And this also gives you capabilities to, so when you want to search, for example, since it's all aggregated, when we are using Elastic behind the scenes to aggregate all the log, you can look for specific things. Like, for example, I can say, I'm giving two patterns here, and it is telling me that there are so many entries total, and out of that, there are 28 entries with the vault. So I can click there, and actually can see all the lines that has the word vault in it. And then again, I can filter by, say, for example, MySQL. So these are all the lines from the MySQL log file, which has the word vault in it. And this screen is also enabled for history. So if you go back, you can keep going back. So you can go back and forth. And also, we made it so that this link is a universal link. So if you want to share this with your coworker, and let's say you found a problem in the log, and if you want your coworker to have direct access to that snippet of the log, there are multiple ways to do it. One, you can copy this into clipboard using this button here, or you can download it and share it. Or you can simply take this URL. So this URL has all the information about that particular screen. You can send this URL to your coworker, and as long as that coworker has access to this application, they'll be able to come to this exact screen.
That's great, Rajat. I think let's explain the concept of the platform a little more detail.
Okay. So now let's talk about the cluster, right? So that's
Yes.
yeah. Go ahead, Sanjeev.
So all the things that you have been seeing so far uh, is happening on the three EC2 instances. Those instances are built as a cluster. As you can see, the one master and two worker node, node 0 and node 2. And this is what we is available in our AWS marketplace. So if you subscribe and say that build an AppZ platform under your AWS account, personal or enterprise, this is the cluster that we call it like AppZ Kubernetes cluster that will get built. As you can see that on the master node, we are running some of our core components, our dashboard, our AppZ platform, which is the like AppZ engine is running, and along with some other core components are running etcd, all are running. And the dashboard that you are interacting is the like HTTPS endpoint that is where you are against the you are setting up the webhook against our platform is the engine where it is delivering the code and is getting built and deployed. You saw the whole workflow, and the apps that you see on the nodes, those are the apps. So your app, MySQL or like Vault, got deployed on one of the worker nodes. And this is the same worker node where we are also running some of our core applications like Elastic and MongoDB and Graylog. And on top, you see the ingress controller. So as you deploy many, again, MySQL may not have a URL, but your Springboot application will have a URL. So you will getting a notification mail that here is a URL. You go and click, and you should be able to browse the application. And all these things are happening by magic. Like we have the ingress controller running, which converts the service in the URL and gives you a link to access the your web applications. So this kind of like the, and as you can see that here in as I was saying that within half an hour you will have the Kubernetes cluster built on AWS, and you start deploying applications next half an hour. Like I think we spent just maybe like an hour plus, and we have like two applications already deployed, and we are on the like to go to deploy the third application, which is the web application, which you will be able to see. So that's the power we are kind of like bringing here. We see that this is lacking in the current whatever offering we have. I would say that you can put 5-6 companies together. Somebody supplying just the Kubernetes, somebody just supplying the maybe uh, somebody supplying the CI/CD, someone else supplying your the like stacks like Bitnami. But again, they do not have as mature stacks as we have, and we are kind of like bringing everything together. So all you need to focus on your application development. And another thing I would like to mention, and you see that happening, is that is this entire process, lot of secrets are getting generated, exchanged, stored, but you are not interacting with them. In none of the repo you saw any secrets in the plain text. In none of the deployment also, once it is deployed, the log, you saw the secret in the plain text. That's the power of the security that we are bringing to the table.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Sanjeev. So we have built, went out of the way to secure your passwords. So, for example, in the today's deployment, MySQL got all this secrets automatically generated by Vault. And if let's say when we are about to deploy Spring Boot, and when we deploy Spring Boot, developers are going to write code, and they could get access to the passwords. And let's say they happen to accidentally or intentionally write the password onto the log. So since we are managing the secrets for you, we automatically mask that. So by the time you see it on the dashboard, that password will be already masked. So it will prevent unnecessary unwanted leak of secrets. So let's move on to the Spring Boot. We have about 15 minutes left. Let's try and finish it on time. So go ahead, Sanjeev. So kind of give us an idea what we are going to deploy now.
Again, exact same process. I think you are already familiar with this process. I will not be like going into much the details. You will fork it, you will add the webhook, and you will make exact same changes that you have already done. But one thing I would say that once you fork it, look at the Spring Boot web application. This is a typical Java application. If you have familiar with the Java, and I will once you go there, I will be explaining more in detail. So let's get going and let the preliminary steps done.
Okay, let me share my screen now. So I'm posting the link on Slack. So I'm going to go and fork it to my account. I'm going to settings, webhook, add webhook. I'm going to grab the link from Slack. Posting the link on Slack as well. So change the content type to application JSON. Set the webhook. Now going to the source. So this you can see it's as Sanjeev was saying, this is a typical Spring Boot web application. We have one service running, which is accounting service. Of course, please feel free to browse through that. So I'm going to trigger the deployment by editing the AppZ YAML. By the way, this is a webhook, so any commit coming to this, in this case, we are configured it so that the deployment will trigger on the master branch. So in our system, we have the capability to trigger the deployment from any branch you like, and any commit to that branch or a merge to the branch will trigger the deployment. So I'm going to edit again. I'm going to change the notification email. And the context prefix match my Git ID, and I'm going to commit. So this is using a Maven build. You can see the POM file right here. And when I go to the dashboard, and when you go to the dashboard, if you were to click on the success under build for Spring Boot, you will be you can see the actual Maven logs. I'll show that in a minute. I'm waiting for the record to show up.
And as you can see that once you fork this application, we will keep the cluster live for a couple of days. If you want to change that, make some changes in the applications, do that. And you can deploy the change version of the application as well.
So you can see my Spring Boot application got deployed. So let's look at the build log. So you can see this, so this build log again looks the same, but if you scroll down, you can see Maven. So this is coming from Maven. You can see that this is the Maven logs, and after the Maven log, it will move on to building the Docker image and pushing it. So all that information is right here. All right, let's wait for everyone to start deploying Spring Boot. Now,
and as you have given your email address on the notification on the AppZ YAML, you will be getting a mail that your deployment was successful, and with a link URL which you can click, and Rajit will show you that screen you will see once the deployment is complete.
There you go. I got so you will see this email in your inbox. And here is the URL to the Spring Boot application. So I'm going to click on it. So you can see, you'll see this when you click. So I'll keep it on the side. Let's wait for everyone to confirm this. So this is the last deployment that we're going to do today. So this is the first two deployments did not. It was kind of a headless deployment. So they all the ports that are exposed are only exposed to within the namespace. But here we also incorporated the ingress controller and created a dynamic URL for the application, and the URL is embedded within your the email that you got. Just click on that the URL to see your application. So once you get the screen, you can click. So remember, the first screen that we are showing here is not connecting to MySQL yet. So, but when you click on the check database records, you will see that it is actually making a call to the MySQL database and pulling these records. So it is a simple account find web service that we created. So it's hitting the MySQL to pull this.
And as you can see that we deployed three critical workload. There's a critical workload. Those are the workload which are used on a daily basis at the enterprise level. Even the small media, everybody uses the Springboot application. Everybody uses MySQL or the similar RDBMS, and everyone uses like the Vault or some other. I would say like. Unfortunately, not everyone uses a secure store. A lot of people put the secret in the files. We have seen a lot of like secrets getting populated in the GitHub repo itself. Again, that's an absolutely bad practice. We are waiting for disaster to happen. So like the security is paramount, and our platform kind of like make sure that we always operate from a very secure environment. That's the reason the title of our workshop was the secure deployment of a stateful and a stateless application. The security is very needed, especially in the cloud. When you are migrating to the cloud, you are in a kind of like unknown like territory, and there are a lot of like bad actors out there. So make sure that you follow the best security practices, and that is what we do in our platform when we release it. So I hope everyone is able to deploy. And one thing you must have seen this whole process is that you are able to deploy all three workloads. None of us you had the requirement to log into the cluster. We want the cluster that we built, that you saw the 3-node cluster, uh, is completely locked down. Only have the break glass access, and the people who do not like again, we want like low, when you say low touch, that's what primarily means. You are not logged into the infrastructure to do an operation. You always like operate it from a UI perspective, and everything that you need is available from you from the dashboard.
And I'm sharing the screen now, so feel free to look at the logs. So this is the actual application log. So we configured it because we are using OpenJDK. The Springboot logs are in OpenJDK file. So I have filtered it. So if you go to the log and select the log, OpenJDK 8.log, so you will see all the log entries from the Springboot application. So feel free to make changes and to the source. And all you need to do is make any source changes in the Springboot web application. Commit it. You don't have to change AppZ YAML all the time. Just make a commit to your master branch, and it will get deployed. And you can see that the deployment time is it's extremely fast. So in this case, for example, if you look at the time, you can see here timestamps here. It deployed really quickly, right? So you feel, as Sanjeev was saying, we are going to keep this cluster running for the next 48 hours. So we'll take it down on Monday. So please feel free to deploy, and we'll keep the Slack channel open as well. So feel free to continue using it. And during the next 48 hours, if you want any of your colleagues or friends to go through this process, let them, they're welcome. You know all the links already, so we will post everything again in a single email, a single Slack post, and pin it. So you can have them deploy as well. And if they run into any issues, we will be on Slack. Please do contact us with any questions. And if you want to continue using it, using this cluster, or if you want to use or create your own cluster under your AWS account, we are in beta right now in AWS. We'll be live sometime in February. So while AWS is vetting out our platform, they're doing all the security checks. They have a process that we need to go through. We are going through that now. So if you contact us through Slack, or through the LinkedIn or through our website, please give us the information, and we can help you with signing up on our beta program. And during the beta program, we are 60 days. There are no charges from our side. So as we mentioned in the earlier slide, the actual cost of running our cluster is 7 cents per hour per node. So anyone has any questions, please do post it. We will stay on the line on the live session for 3 more minutes, and we'll continue in Slack. So it looks like people. We have a lot of confirmations coming in. So in the coming week, we plan to do a workshop every week. Initially, we'll keep the Friday morning time frame, but we'll be changing that to accommodate other time zones. So Sanjeev, you want to talk about the coming workshops, what kind of workloads we're going to show, things like that?
Yes. So ideally, we will be setting up the Vault would be a core component that will always get deployed, because and as you saw that if 20 of you were deploying, no one was, like, everyone's application was in a self-contained, what you call the namespace. That way we are not interacting, you're not seeing that what others are deploying, and they are completely segregated. So we will have the Vault always get deployed in your namespace. Then we will have one stateful application and one stateless or a stateful application. The next one we are targeting is Mariadb, which is I would say like enhanced version of the MySQL database, and the WordPress. We'll also show you Mariadb we can run in a backup slave, like the HA mode, like all those things we'll see. So as you see that we are bringing a lot of value in terms of our stacks. Our stacks are much more usable than just the kind of like open source, the components which you can download either from open source and you never know where you are downloading it from, or like some other interfaces. So again, we are running in the AWS marketplace also. But in case you are not using AWS or some other cloud you are using, you are perfectly fine with us. Within an hour, we can set up an AppZ platform under your Azure or Oracle or DigitalOcean, whatever cloud you are using.
And that is self-service, right? So we just give them the instructions. So
absolutely,
when you sign up in beta, we are going to send you instructions. You'll be able to do it yourself, and you can take it down anytime you want. So it's all up to you. So within an hour, so our goal is anyone who want to onboard and test a workload, we want them to be able to do it in an hour. So we give you everything, including the platform on a AWS marketplace, the sample projects that you can clone, and we give you the Slack channel where you can ping us and seek any help. So any similar workload, if you want to deploy, within an hour, you should be able to do it.
And Rajat,
Right.
This is recorded also, so we'll be posting this recording. You can come and watch it and ask any question on our Slack channel.
All right, please. So it's exactly 10:30 now. So hey, thanks everyone for joining. So this was an awesome session. So hopefully we can continue to work and help you out in using Kubernetes in a hassle-free manner. So please do ask any questions on Slack. We will continue there. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.